What's up, wrestling fans? We're the Hills Maniacs, and today we're going to be discussing who we think is the best and worst wrestler on WWE's current roster and why we think so. So let's get into it. So I guess we'll start with who we think is the worst wrestler on the roster. For me, personally, I'd say it's a tie between Baron Corbin and Elias. I just don't like... I don't know if it's just the segments that... Like, for Elias, for example, I don't know if it's just the segments that he's in or just the way... I just don't feel like he has a lot of, like... He's not that great in the ring. And Baron Corbin is just annoying. Like, I'm tired of seeing him in main stories and everything else. Like, yeah, he might be like a good heel for someone to fight when they first come to the main roster, but like, other than that, he's pretty boring in the ring, in my opinion. I don't like, every time Baron Corbin comes out, I'm just like, I don't want to watch this anymore. You know? I mean, you have any thoughts on Baron Corbin?
I mean, I don't, see, Baron Corbin and Elias, to me, they're not bad in the ring necessarily. They just have stupid gimmicks and are in stupid storylines, which isn't really technically their fault.
Yeah.
But I don't think they're that bad in the ring. There's people that are much worse. That I think, and my least favorite wrestler, based on, you know, just looking at how they perform in the ring and not whether or not I like said person, is one half of the Raw Tag Team Champions, Omos. You know, the big strong muscles man that's teaming with AJ Styles, wrestled in one match at WrestleMania. We haven't seen him since. You know, I liked the idea that they were building him up as this, like, big star, and I was kind of hoping he would go off by himself if he did wrestle. And you know, he could fight for the title or something, but you know, him versus Bobby Lashley or something. But then I saw him wrestle, and
I feel like, honestly, Omos is more like the Great Khali. Like, he's just gonna have that, like, gets in the ring, does a couple moves,
and then you know, when they lose the Raw Tag Team titles, it'll be because they pin AJ, not because they pinned Omos.
I mean, I'm okay with it right now because it was a different tag team.
I mean, yeah, like, I'm all for different tag teams. The problem is, first off, we've seen him wrestle once, and two, he didn't really do anything. So as of right now, because he hasn't done anything, I think he is my least favorite based on the criteria we're judging.
Yeah, like, I get what you're saying, and like the same with like Baron Corbin. It's like, I'd rather see somebody that's like, I'm more into like the cruiserweights or like high flying kind of people, or at least people that have like a whole variety of moves and are like very impressive in the ring and everything else.
So Omos.
Yeah, Omos doing flying moves. But so that's the kind of people I'd rather see. And then you look at like Baron Corbin and stuff. He's more of just like does a couple moves, but it's to get over this person, or he usually wins. So which doesn't help anything either. But even Elias, it's like just his segments with the, you know, coming out and singing and everything else. It's like, I don't care.
I'm honestly surprised you didn't say Jackson Riker.
He's a little bit better in the ring than Baron Corbin, but just in terms of, like, that's not the kind of wrestler I want to see, honestly. And I feel like they just wanted to build up Elias as, like, just a singer person, have his singing segments every week. But he's not The Rock, you know, where The Rock came out and did singing skits and stuff in the ring to make fun of other people, and it was funny and entertaining and everything else. But with Elias, it's just like, get off my screen.
Right.
So those are our two who we think is the worst wrestler. Now let's talk about who's the best wrestler in WWE's current roster. For me, honestly, I think it's Drew McIntyre for me, just because I like the way, like I said earlier, you know, we want someone that has like a different variety and everything else, and seems like he knows what he's doing in the ring. I love watching Drew McIntyre compete, especially if he's put against an opponent that's really good as well. Like when he fought Sheamus and everything, those were really good matches. And, you know, I like seeing matches like that. He's a hard-hitting superstar, but he also is innovative and everything else. And he was world champion already, so I hope he wins the world title again in the future, but every time I see Drew McIntyre, like, I just want more. You know, even when he's in a stupid, crappy match against, like, someone like Elias or whatever, he still manages to, like, it's still impressive. I love his finisher, the Claymore kick and everything else. He's all around. He's like, I think on the current roster of who they have right now, I think he's the best on the roster.
Right, and you know, normally in a situation like this, when somebody asks me who my favorite superstar is, I would, without a doubt, 100% say The Miz. However, based on how we're judging this, and based on like in-ring performance and storylines that we're going with, and you know, just the different ways we're judging this on who the best person is, I'm surprisingly going to go with Cesaro. He's been here for, well, what, 7 years ish now, and he's never held the main title. And I really do, you know, sometimes he's had stupid storylines, the bar. And you know, but he's always been one of those people that could go toe to toe with any superstar, put on a good match, but also, when necessary, put them over, and you know, let somebody new win if it builds them up. You know, he's not afraid to do that. And then, you know, and he's not bad as a tag team wrestler. I just hate when he's in a tag team, because I think he should be by himself, which he is now. So
that's true.
I mean, like it like that, you know. And he's really powerful, and for him to be able to go like against pretty much anybody, and be able to put on a good match, tells you that you're a good superstar. You know, you look at people like Baron Corbin, you know, like you mentioned earlier. Like, you're not going to see him fight like Braun Strowman, you know, and put on a good match, because Corbin will get squashed, you know, because he's smaller, and that's just the way they'll build up the match. Whereas Cesaro, he's not smaller than a lot of the people there. And even if he was, he's still probably stronger than most of the people there. So it's still a good match. And I personally hope he wins the Universal or WWE title at some point. Or even if he goes out to the Intercontinental title, I'd be okay with that too.
I mean, you're right. I mean, he is great in the ring, and like, I would have picked him, like, if I hadn't. I don't know why Drew McIntyre like kind of just crossed my mind first, but I'd like to see if they ever did like Drew I don't think we've ever seen Drew versus Cesaro.
I don't
like
think so.
One-on-one at least.
I mean, it's a fair,
that would be a fun.
It's a fair assumption to say that Drew McIntyre is the best wrestler. I'm not taking anything away from Drew. I just personally, I
know some people.
You know, I've always been a fan of Cesaro, even back, you know, when he first started, you know, and he was kind of a heel, and we weren't supposed to like him, and he beat somebody for the United States title and held it for a long time, and then, you know, and you know, back then we didn't really know who he was, but I was still kind of a fan of him back then, because we never really saw somebody do a swing like he does, you know, where he picks them up and spins. And the fact that he can do it for so long without getting dizzy from spinning around in a circle, you know, you don't see that often. And that was like, wow, this guy's cool, you know. And then from then on, I've been like, man, I hope he wins the title. Hasn't, but, you know, hopefully, maybe someday soon, maybe he'll be the one that beats Roman Reigns for the Universal title. And then we could have Cesaro versus Bobby Lashley at Survivor Series as Universal Champion and WWE Champion.
Sure.
Yeah.
But let us know what you guys think down in the comments section. Who do you think is the best and worst wrestler on WWE's current roster? We'd love to hear your opinion. And also be sure to like this video and subscribe for more. We like to talk about wrestling from time to time. So if you're a wrestling fan, keep an eye out for that. And we will see you in the next one.
Bye, guys.
Subscribe.